I wanted to make shit for the IE. Very quickly that I found, I'm already boxing myself in. I don't give a fuck about being the best in Ontario. I don't give a fuck about, well, maybe in Ontario, maybe, yeah. I am the best in Ontario, by the way, across all the boards. Shout out to Sen. I'm the best, not, like, if I already know I'm the best in Ontario and the IE, why not shoot for the moon? Now I got to convince everybody else that I'm the best in the fucking world, in the universe, and all the M&Ms out there in Andromeda and shit, right? So that's the goal.
Max was the turnout of my lifestyle. Smoking green, blowing white clouds to build the blue skies. Conversating with the gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the gods hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the gods hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the gods hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the gods hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Walk through the sands of times like Gara. On the other side of that gad is karma. You wet Prada, the devil like inside your box now. While the angels fly over my headstone.
We are back with another episode of the God's Hour podcast with your boy Big Cervelli back in the place to be, La Merca Superior Palace, 81 Studios. We are live in effect, live and direct. It's your boy, Mr. Nine Times. And right now, I'm a bit busy because I am playing Pokemon Go. Today is fucking Bounce Week Community Day. So after this, I'm going to get ready. I got to drop some clothes off to get printed, and then I'm going to play the event. So a few things to talk about. Yes, we do. All right. First of all, I want to start off with something that we went off from the last episode, which was the Amy Winehouse movie Back to Black. Now, just to preface this with, I'm a huge Amy Winehouse fan, for anyone that doesn't know. I've been listening to her pretty much since she came out. I remember my dad telling me that, yeah, we were listening to the radio one day and they were talking about there's this big, she's going to be a mega star. Her name is Amy Winehouse. She's a singer from the UK. And this is when Frank came out. So I think Frank came out in 2004, right? I want to say Frank, let's just say Frank is 2004. Back to Black came out in 2007, which is kind of crazy. When I think of Back to Black, I always associate it with like the last year of her life, but no, Back to Black came out in 2007, right? Back to Black, Amy Winehouse, not the song, the album, guy, come on now. Yeah, 2007, and Presley's coming in. Presley's gonna come in at any point now in the podcast. So it's so crazy when you think how fast like life moves, right? She was 27 in 2011, which made her 20 when Frank came out. That's crazy, bro. I could never imagine being a megastar at 20 years old. At 20 years old, I was still a fucking idiot. Like, for the most part, I was still, you know what I mean, doing all kinds of bullshit. And I could never, being a megastar at that point, it would have been very detrimental to my growth as a person. Because barely now I feel like, okay, I could, like, I've already got my life together, right? So anything extra shit is just extra shit at this point. I feel like nobody's really ever really fucking, prepared for fame. Like, that meteoric rise to fame could knock anybody off of the axis. I feel like the only superstar to come out to cross over from the UK, like here, I feel like would be Adele. But even Adele to me wasn't, Adele didn't have those accolades that Amy did. On the last episode, I kept saying Aretha Franklin, which it was kind of a mistake. But I was trying to say Ella Fitzgerald. Aretha Franklin is more R&B. So what genre is Aretha Franklin? Isn't she like the godmother of some genre? And here I go looking up shit, right? Okay, yeah, she was the queen of soul. Okay, yeah, so I did kind of get it right. People were, what is it? Comparing her to Aretha Franklin, but Ella Fitzgerald was like the number one because Ella Fitzgerald's jazz, right? And it was kind of like Amy existed in this soul R&B, like I said before, soul R&B, jazz, hip hop, whatever, like her own spin on it. But Ella Fitzgerald, yeah, even in the movie, they even said that like Amy Winehouse, she wasn't afraid of saying who her influences were, such as like even I forgot what song it was, but she said in the end of a song, it's like one of the only songs or the only song I've ever heard from her, and I've heard like all of her stuff. That in the end, she says something about Donny Hathaway, but she was nonetheless she was very influenced by 60s, 50s, primary I would say more 60s groups. Where was my point? I kind of forgot where I was going. Fuck. Fuck. Oh, okay. So Adele, right? Even Adele didn't have those kind of accolades. But she had like two really popping songs that are already old at this point. But had Adele even started doing half of the shit Amy was doing at that point, they would have crucified her. Like I feel like with the Back to Black movie, what they really got well was how the paparazzi and the media was up her ass all the time about shit, and that's sort of the fame that nobody really anticipates. Like there were incidences of her being harassed by the paparazzi, and she would go off on them like, what the fuck, like get the fuck away from me. And of course these fools are getting paid thousands of dollars to harass her with videos and pictures, so of course they're not gonna care. They're gonna want to that's the thing, that they can harass them, and then when an artist or a celebrity fights back and shit in any sort of way, then the lawsuits come, then people start getting sued. And it's crazy, bro. Like, how can you get sued if you step on my toe, if you step on my shoe and I smack the shit out of you, you could sue me? That's what we could do? That's crazy, bro. So I mean, and this is no shots to Adele, I just feel like the last big artist to come from the UK crossover was Adele, but it just still wasn't like Amy's like an anomaly. Like her whole everything about her was just different. So with the movie, it's a little wonky. The timeline is weird. It seems like they do a pretty okay job at setting up her life before the fame. Like, you know, she's Jewish. Her mom and dad were divorced from like a long time ago, and they didn't really get along. Her dad's a prominent figure in the movie. She loved music. Everyone knew she was an amazing singer, even at the young age of, let's say she was like 19 at this point. She does. It's weird because it's like it's already established that she already started doing shows. So what I'm saying is they didn't do a great job of setting up her as an artist, like where she is. There was no point in the movie where I felt I got all the details. And if you're doing I get it's an hour 47 minutes, which is very short. They would have to do a whole show. I'm ready for that, a good one, like a good Amy Winehouse show. Because this movie, I'm gonna just tell you right now, this movie, I really didn't like this movie. As far as covering her top to bottom, the singing, her personal life, to just everything. There was no way you could do it anyway. So basically what they did was they focused on her last her like last couple years, her second album, and like the latter years of her life to her death. And they didn't even really cover her death. They didn't cover her background. It's just kind of like you assume she's from the UK, and then later on in the movie she's like, this is for London, and it's like, fucking this is the first time I'm hearing like an hour and a half in the movie like you're from London. That's crazy. You know what I mean? So it's just there's a lot of things. If you don't know Amy, and if you're just watching like, oh, I'm gonna watch a movie about an artist I never heard of, you'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like I never got any clarity in depth with the artist, and just everything about it was very clunky. I think I'll go. I think I'll take my critiques on first, and then I'll go to, because there's a lot of things I think I don't like more so that I do like. So what I don't like is like there's two relationships she's had that I know of, that we know of, that her basically her relationships are her albums. Her first album is Frank, and basically it's her shitting on her man, like you're not a real man, you can't do the things that a man, in my opinion, in her opinion, should be doing. And it's crazy, like the her like the toxic relationships fuel the music. So there's songs like, I think it's You Sent Me Flying, the first song, where she's like, feel like a lady and you my lady boy, shitting on him, right? Then you have I Heard Love Is Blind, where she's singing about it's not cheating, you were on my mind. That's crazy, bruh. But then you have all like Frank. Frank is definitely my favorite album. It's more jazzy and, you know, very like, I don't know. But then you have like Moody's Mood for Love, which is very slow. This isn't an album breakdown, but I'm just like trying to give you all a picture of that album, right? From her first relationship. Very different from Back to Black. Back to Black is like her kind of like in superstardom, in the fame, in just like from Frank to Back to Black is out of the frying pan into the fryer. They didn't, in the movie, they did not do a good job of like keeping the timeline together. They do a good job of showing you, oh, okay, like she's being harassed by the paparazzi, she got a new man. But what's really weird is we go from Frank, she meets a guy in the bar, and he starts playing her song. I can't remember what song it was, but she does play a few songs. Not as many as I would like, but it's a short movie. So, right, there's like at least 5 songs that you see her playing and coming up with the music in the movie. The dude, she meets this guy at the bar. He's playing pool. He puts this song on, and it's Amy Winehouse. And she's like, you motherfucker, like you knew who I was the whole time and you're over here trying to play it off like you don't know who I am. Okay, but in like now as a fan, I'm like, where did we get to the point where we knew that she was a superstar? Where, like, how do I know her fucking album came out? Because she's doing a meeting with her label, and the label's like, yeah, you know, we don't think that this album's gonna sell in America. That was the big thing. They were banking on it crossing over to the US. Why? I don't know. That was another thing. Like, why can't she just blow up in the UK? And then why does it have to be in the US? Why can't it be in somewhere else? Like, whatever, Ireland or some shit like that. I don't know. Just a lot of things in the movie was just like, why? Like, I don't understand. If you're going to bring this up, go in depth. People just bring it up and you're like, okay, well, all right, I guess I'll just go with the flow on this shit because I'm not really getting any fucking sort of better information on it. So with her relationship, the first one is like super fast. She's singing about, she sings You Sent Me Flying and the song, you know, feel like a lady, you my lady boy. Her boyfriend at the time is just looking at her like, what the fuck? Like, you're putting me on blast. And he basically breaks up with her in the movie. Then immediately after, she meets a new guy at the bar. He becomes the focus in Back to Black with songs. The main song Back to Black is, I did it like with her lyrics. you like, yeah, you listen to it, but then once, this was a great moment for me. So this is one great thing where when when Amy meets this dude, they're hitting it off. They're, you think like it's all like cool and shit. And then all of a sudden his girlfriend comes in and you're like, oh shit, wow, I didn't know you had a fucking girlfriend. And it seems like she's like a bitch and she got these heels on, right? And I guess at this point or at this time in the UK or whatever, they would call them like fuck me pumps. Basically, you're a slut. You wear heels to manifest sex. And that becomes fuck me pumps, the song. I thought that was great. I just that was one of the better parts of the movie where it's like you show the song in connection with her life. I think they nailed that with Back to Black and You Set Me Flying and Fuck Me Pumps. With Back to Black and with this relationship, it's fucking toxic as hell. With them, they insinuate that she basically would abuse her boyfriend. He would cheat on her. They would do drugs together, which I'm going to cover in a little bit. And with the song Back to Black, she's singing, you go back to her and I go back to black. So you see, we said goodbye in words. I cried 100 times in words. You go back to her and I go back to black. So you see, as the song's playing, like, I guess Amy's the side piece, but her boyfriend goes back to his girlfriend and then she's like, wherever she is making the song. And I thought that was fantastic. And it's super sad because in the beginning, she's very straight edge. She does have like a drinking and like smoking cigarette problem. And I remember telling my mom, like, that's so normal over there. It's just like with any other culture where it's like it's very not a frowned upon thing. It's just normal, you smoke cigarettes and you drink wine with your food and shit like that. Whatever it is, it's like pretty normal. So later on when they're discussing about Amy going to rehab, it's like preposterous. Like it was like the like for her dad, it was like if you were gonna send her to jail, like what the fuck, rehab? Like what are you talking about? That's nonsense. Like this crazy, bro. Like you're tripping hella hard right now. There's no way we're gonna send her to fucking rehab over some drink and shit. Like she could drink. Like yeah, she could drink, but that's crazy. And I think they did a good job of her of showing the transformation of her becoming very intoxicated because they want her to go to rehab after she blacks out and she fucking like collapses and her manager wakes her up and she's like in a pool of her own drool and she has like a chingazo on her head and her manager's they did a good job of like her manager being like very on her about her career, but also kind of like caring, like, bro, like you cannot be doing this, bro. Like all her manager wanted was the best for her. And I think they did a good job of doing that. A lot of the movie too, I feel like is based on Amy, My Daughter by her dad, written by her dad, Mitch Winehouse. Phenomenal read if you're very into like Amy Winehouse. And I'm going to be talking about this for like, I'm going to say like another good 5-10 minutes. So if you don't like this, like just, fast forward. It's a really good book. There's a lot of like other cross collateral writers like, oh, this fool just made himself look like the shit or whatever. Like, who cares? Like, I don't give a fuck about that. Like, it is what it is. If you weren't there, then shut the fuck up because her dad, Mitch, he was with her pretty much the whole time in his book and in the movie, right? Just going off of that. I'm not out here saying that it's true or whatever. So if I get flack, fuck you. I'm just going off of what I read and what I watched. He was very much involved in her career. In fact, I remember in the book, he says, and you can't make this shit up, because who's gonna know this shit? I think he was involved with the music industry, but I forgot what songs. This might have been around. This might have been Frank. Who knows what album this is? I haven't read the book literally in over like maybe it could be like 10 years since I've read this book. It's a great read. Amy, my daughter, go check it out. What is it? They're breaking down the publishing of the album, her and her label, and they're divvying up the splits. If you don't know what splits are, it's like the writing credentials, right? So you have the composer, the producer, the artist, the features, and you split it all from there. Obviously, producers get a chunk of it because they're producing the song. Then I want to say it's producer, composer, artist, feature, right? Whatever it is. But then also in that, you have the writers. And Amy gave a certain amount of percentage to her friend who was just with her and might have said, this ain't verbatim, so let me just guess and say her friend might have been like, oh yeah, that's cool, you should say that. And because she suggested that to Amy gave her a certain percentage of her publishing. Now, guys, that's kind of crazy. If I was ever in the studio and somebody said, yeah, Serbs, I like that line, you should say, instead of saying word, you should say verb. And I'll be like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. If I gave you 1% of that record, bro, 1% of $1 million, what is that? Like 10 grand? 10 grand, right? You get 10 grand just because you made a suggestion? Like, no, bro. If I gave you 1%, it would have to be like, you really helped me along with the song. Like, no, say it like this. No, say it like that. Like, really help me and constructed it. Then I could see you giving like, I could, like, you didn't write shit, but you helped me. Okay, that's 1%. You earn that one because you really helped me through it and you earn that one. But from the book, she would just be so giving. She was a very, and this is something they didn't do with the movie. She was a very great person. She was very outgoing and she was very giving. In the movie, they made her seem like this fucking drug addict, very snappy and aggressive and just irritable. You know what I mean? Very contradictory to what the book is. And if they're going off the book, like, I think they did a very poor job. Like, they just pick and chose and, okay, we're going to put this on blast and we're going to take this back. Like, no, bro, like, this is what I'm saying. They got to do a whole series, docu-series, whatever, get the family involved. I think her dad's still alive. Like, they could do it, you know what I mean? Hopefully sooner rather than later, because this movie didn't do nothing for her, in my opinion, perception in the public eye. If anything, this made her look just as bad or even worse than what people have been saying for years. Like, instead of going off of what the narrative is, why don't you just shed some more light on things people don't know about? Like, it was cool that, like, I bet you people didn't even know she was fucking Jewish. Like, put that out there. Put it out there that she was an awesome person, one of a kind personality, or whatever. Don't just go off of what we know. We all know what she did. We all know her demons. We all know what she been through, bro. You don't gotta go out there like that and just make it even more fucking of all the bullshit of what it is out there already. Like, come on, bro. That's just another thing. That's a big thing. Like, they didn't make her seem, and they don't got to do shit, but what I'm saying is they just didn't bring anything fresh to the table, more so than what they did bashing her image. So all really I got from this movie was what we know about her. She had relationships, she shit on the dudes, she was abusive to herself, to other people. She just got caught up in fame and it spiraled out of control. She got clean, and then she passed away because she relapsed. I don't want to end it on a sad note, so let me go back to what I liked about the movie. I liked her transformation. You really do see her going from this innocent, you know, no drugs type girl to it fucking spiraled out of control. She got the tattoos. She got the big hair. the makeup, everything. I think they did a good job of her transformation. I would have loved to see more character development. I think they did a really good job of showing the toxic relationship between her and her last boyfriend. I think his name was Blake. I think they did a good job because you see him do like lines of coke, and she's like, "No, man, what are you doing? What the fuck? I don't do that shit." And then when she goes and to see him in jail, he's like, "Everybody in the press is saying I got you into drugs, and we both know that's fucking bullshit. Hey, moron, you're the fucking one that brought all these drugs." Literally, there's like a scene where he's like proposing a ring to her, and there's fucking crack rocks in there or whatever the fuck. So I think they did a good, like, if you're paying attention, you're gonna know, oh, like, this fool's just a moron. Like, he's just not trying to own up or claim responsibility for some of the things that he should. All in all, I think the movie was okay. It's definitely not a great movie, in my opinion. Me knowing a lot about her, loving her music. Another thing I do like is they show her writing the music, living in the moments that created the lyrics. And I wish they would have fleshed out her relationship with Salam Remy. And they didn't even talk about Nas. Nas was not maybe a super big figure in her career in the grand scheme of things, but he was there. You know what I mean? They had a good relationship. Her and Mos Def. You know, there's a lot of things that I feel like they missed out on. Again, it's only an hour and 47 minutes. That's what I'm saying. They got to do the. Yeah, I'm going back to what the fuck I'm saying before. So, I think this shit got like a 6.6 on Rotten Tomatoes. I would agree. Pretty, and I might even lower than that, like a solid 6.1 or something. I don't like it because it's very. Like, there's nothing new. We've been new about this shit. I feel like they bashed her more than they praised her. What I do like about it, though, is we got more backstory than what the public audience would know. So I do like that. I do like that about it. I'll give it a 6.1. Here's my ticket. Just to show y'all proof. And I know I had some other notes that I didn't bring up. Let me check this out. Let me see. Yeah, the timeline was off. They got a lot of it from the book compared to Ella Fitzgerald. Let me see. Yeah, I think the movie was okay. But it wasn't a great movie, and it wasn't that. Yeah. Okay. Last night, Righteous Fest 518 with the homies. Yeah. So Abe the Freak, shout out Abe the Freak, Don Jesse, OQ, Migs was there, 30 Miles was there. The homies was there, man, right? John Fletch was there. It was cracking, man. I brought my merch. OQ bought a shirt, Abe the Freak bought a shirt. So shout out to y'all. You know, this really opened my eyes to where now when I do shows, now it's not just about me performing. Now it's about me getting my clothes out there and networking and getting them off. Right before I get in depth into my clothes, there was a artist that I don't want to put him on blast, but he was probably high and drunk. But I'm playing Pokemon, and he's trying to sell me his CD. Number one, I'm going to tell y'all this right now. If I don't know you and if I just met you and shit, do not give me your CD. All right. It takes me back to New York where these dudes were just hustling their CD. Like, I don't know you. I don't sales 101, guy. The best way to sell to people is you sell to their emotions. I don't have any emotional attachment to you. Right. So you're already off. Like, we're already starting off on the wrong foot. So you got to do something, like make a pitch that's so fucking wow flavor to get me to invest. All this dude did was tell me, yo, it's a banging album. It's a banging album. Okay, do you know how many banging albums are out there? So I tried to shoot him some bail, right? Like, is this on streaming? And keep in mind, I'm playing Pokemon, so I'm like halfway not even paying attention to this fool. He goes, why would you look for it on streaming if it's in your hands right now? Okay, so these are the kind of questions that I'm not trying to answer. like as a buyer, you're not okay, so you're already fucking up right there. I don't like that at all. Why ask me a dumb fucking question like that? Why? Because if I don't fucking have a CD player, I could go wherever I want and look you up on fucking this, and that. If I don't have one of those or a subscription, there's always another platform that I could listen to you on. That's why. That's a stupid fucking question. That's already, if we're looking at like scoring and shit, we already started off -1. -1 on that. And then he's just telling me it's a banging album. And fuck, man, I forgot one other thing he said or whatever. But I was just like, oh, all right, fool. Like, I was going to offer him, because I brought CDs, I was going to offer him a trade and shit. But I was just more so like, nah, I don't care. You know, and he was like, oh, all right. Like, you know, he kind of took it like, oh, well, you're lost. Like, he tried to throw it on me like, oh, hey, man, that's on you. Like, that's your bad and all that. And like I said, man, like I've said this before. I don't like when people do that. Like, it really ain't my loss. If I'm not invested in you and I could care less about you as an artist, it's really not my loss. It's really your loss, because you're over here trying to sell to me and you did a very poor job at getting a purchase. You didn't get a purchase. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to live with that forever. So if somebody else asks me like, hey, like, do you know this dude? Like, is his music good? I could tell him, you know what I mean? No, like, this fool try to strong arm me into buying a album when I clearly wasn't even in the mood to buy shit. Like, I wasn't even in the mood to buy shit. I'm over here playing Pokemon, and now you're trying to sell me off rip? Man, that was wild. So to all you young and up and coming artists, just be aware, know who you're selling, know what you're selling, and know how to sell it. This dude knew what he was selling, but he didn't know how to sell it, and he didn't know when, where, and who to sell it to. Right? We're here to watch performances and get faded. No one's trying to buy music. Everyone's trying to buy weed. So you got to come up with some very interesting shit to get money out of pockets. I had the clothes, right? Who are the two people nobody that was going over there to buy weed bought my clothes? Who bought my clothes? The homie Abe and OQ. Who are these people? Good homies of mine. I've been knew them, and they support me as an artist. So basically, I have it in the bag right there, the sale. All I had to do was bring the merch, and I was thankful enough to bring all my merch. So I had assorted flavors. I showed Abe, yo, this is what I got. He said, this is cool. What else you got? I got this, and this. I like that one. Boom. I made a sale right there. 30 miles. He liked the merch that I had. But he was like, yo, high key, I brought the shorts too. He was like, them shorts are fire. So I got him on an order for that one. And then OQ, he just wanted to buy a shirt. He didn't even give a fuck about he didn't even see, or maybe I did have, I don't even think he saw my whole inventory. He just saw the green throwy I had. And then he was like, boom. He bought it off me just like that. Hold on, my bad. They blowing up my phone right now. So just know who you're selling it to. I had 2 sales already, basically. So it's just very interesting going around and meeting and connecting with people who do support me as an artist, and they do want to do business with me. I appreciate it. I'm very, very thankful and grateful to Abe and OQ and everyone else, because I got a lot of other customers out there. I don't want to name them, because a lot of them, I've asked them to take pictures and they have, and that's great. Like, I'm not one of these people that's mad. Like, I feel you. If you don't want to buy a shirt, that's fine. I always tell them that's okay. I got you next time. That's fine. I'm not ever going to try to belittle anybody or chase anybody away with my aggressiveness, because, hey, man, I understand everyone has bills. We're in a very, very, very difficult moment in life financially. It's just hard for everybody. I got homies that they want to support me, but they just can't. Whether they really can or can't, it doesn't matter. I already know what's going on. I'm not gonna sell water to a fish. I'm gonna sell water to the thirsty, right? It makes no sense to swim up the stream when you could just coast down and get it like that. Fuck, going back. Okay, so with the clothes, obviously, I'm not gonna talk about the sales and shit, but I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm barely breaking even on my drops. And my first, no, what is it? My first drop sold out. I'm gonna be straight with y'all. Sold out. The second drop, it flopped. And if we're gonna go back to the first one, this logo costs more money than all the money I made, plus all the money I put into the printing and buying the clothes. So even though I sold out, I didn't even make enough money to buy the logo. The second drop flopped. I only got 2 purchases, and I ended up giving most of the I'm not gonna say merch. I gave most of my clothes away from the second drop just to get my name out there. If you're not willing to invest in yourself and take them L's, you might call them an L, but I'll just say it's a what is it? A lingering dub, right? You know what I mean? It's an impending W for me. That's like, you got to go out and you got to take that risk. I'm definitely not making no bread off of this. I'm just making enough to get by and get my name out there. And if you can't live with that, you can't. Like, if you're not ready to go out there and step out and just be like, you know what? Whether this shit hits or not, I'm fucking gonna be on the front lines, ready and willing to put the work in. Like Ice Cube said, if you're not willing to put 5 years into this and not make a dime back or a quarter or whatever he said, don't even do it. And just going from the music to designing, I already knew. Not even the whole designing game and people biting your style and all of a sudden people want to make clothes now. No, I just knew off of the bat, this shit is going to take time. It's going to take money, and it's going to take a lot of love to get this shit off the ground, grow its wings, and fly to victory. So with knowing that, everything is a blessing. Every single sale, every single hand I shake, every single person I meet, from the shows to doing my clothes, I'm super grateful because I know what it's like to have nothing, bro. If nobody knows, my first ever mixtape back in 2015, I made shirts by hand. I hand painted on them shits. It took me hours to do this, to do only like 10 shirts. It took me like so many hours, hand did it. And it was I don't think I sold all of them. I can't even tell you where those clothes are at now. But literally, it's basically from what I have now, a little logo and a big logo on the back. It don't gotta be crazy. Keep it real simple. You don't have to do the fucking super crazy tie-dye with the bleach, with the ripped shit Kanye that everyone's trying to do. You don't gotta do that, bro. You could just be simple like what I'm doing now, and to see my brand go from now I didn't establish it as a brand, but so many years later, literally 8 years later, I got the idea of starting it up again. It started as, we're going to represent the IE, but literally when I got my business, like, what is it? Published and all that shit, or it's not, I don't know if it's published, but basically like I own the name and shit. Fuck, I just lost what I was going. My parents are down there making breakfast, listening to Spanish music. I'm sorry. Fuck. Like it just takes time, is what I'm trying to say. And I completely forgot what the fuck I was trying to go to. This is where I was going. Originally, I wanted to make shit for the IE. Very quickly that I found, I'm already boxing myself in. I don't give a fuck about being the best in Ontario. I don't give a fuck about, well, maybe in Ontario, maybe, yeah. I am the best in Ontario, by the way, across all the boards. Shout out to Sen. I'm the best, not, like, if I already know I'm the best in Ontario and the IE, why not shoot for the moon? Now I got to convince everybody else that I'm the best in the fucking world, in the universe, and all the M&Ms out there in Andromeda and shit, right? So that's the goal. You got to have them little goals and the big goals. The little goals, I had a plan. I got the business going very earlier than I expected, right? Check that off the list. What else did I check off? I have a 1-year plan. I already have that in motion. Check that off. We're already going to be in June. I already got the next shit lined up. Now, what is it? What I'm saying is there's them little goals, and then the little goals add up to the bigger picture. The biggest goal I want to have is I do want to be competing with the top designers, with Pharrell, whoever. I don't want to name drop anybody else. Just Pharrell is like one early on that I know he's been doing it for years and years now. That's where I want to be. The end goal, I don't know what the end goal is for music, because music takes you, you know what I mean? It takes you to the music, the fashion and all that shit. So to me, there's no real end goal to music. The active goal is just me making it and doing shows. That's it. There's no end goal to music for me. But the end goal for my fashion shit is to have it with the big dogs. I don't give a fuck about any of these other fools. I don't care about, Freddy's Guayaveras. Shout out Freddy's Guayaveras. And all these other dipshits that want to steal sauce and try to repackage my fucking brand. I don't give a fuck about you guys. Shout out to all the other homies that's doing their thing. Abe the Freak, despite the odds. MC Rules. Shout out to them. But my goal is over the moon, into the stars, out of the stratosphere, in the Andromedas. So you gotta have them goals. If you don't have them goals, what the fuck are you doing? What's the end game, guy? Figure it out. And if you don't figure it out, actively participate in your success and get it where it needs to be for you to figure it out. Because as you go, them goals are gonna change. Oh, fucking, I should have made a right when I made a left. You're gonna learn things. It's a whole learning process. So learn, educate yourself, and become great and step into your greatness. Don't allow anybody to step on that, because I step on my principles. I ain't gonna never let nobody punk me into some shit I don't want to do, or just punk me at all. Like, fuck you. You really think you're gonna try to punk me with anything? It don't gotta be just fashion. It could just be in life. When fools try to punk you, it's like, oh, okay, like. And I'm a sniper. Like, I'm really one of those, like, okay, like, I'm going to let you do all that rah-rah shit. Then we going to aim for the head. And it's over. I'll take your ass out the game. So, yeah, Righteous was dope. A lot of people, no stage, but I did my thing anyway. Phenomenal. And I don't give a fuck if most people were there to smoke weed. I did my thing, and a lot of people received it very well, and I appreciate that. Shout out to everybody out there. There was this one dude, I forgot his name, man. He was singing like an angel out there. I got to connect with the homie. He's saying like if he should be signed. Like he is literally a crazy good singer. Literally, he was just sitting down, singing, closing his eyes, and singing his heart out. I said, God damn, man, he really reminds me of was it The Weeknd? He sings really fucking good, and I gotta connect with Holmes. We gotta do some shit, because I really need singers. I need models, and I need money. So, to wrap it up, while I was going home, on my fucking car, it's the dudes, they lift up your wiper, and they put the shit down, and now you got a fucking, somebody's bullshit on your car. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is this, 2003? Like, bruh, stop, bro. There's nobody that I look at the shit and I'm like, okay, and I don't throw it the fuck in the air and fucking have it pollute the earth. Come on, bro. Like, this is the thing, going back to the, you gotta be special in your pitches and shit. Me personally, I like being hand to hand. Hello, my name is Serbs. I make music. I do a podcast. Yada yada yada. If in that you're already not giving a fuck, thank you for your time. Mucho gusto. Next, right? But if you are interested, then it's, then we go down the line. You know what I mean? I listen to the music. Do you like it? No, that's fine. Okay, here's my close. If you don't like it, that's fine. Okay, we keep it moving. If it's yes to any of those questions, here's my Instagram, my Twitter. Here's where you can listen to my music. If you would like to buy a shirt, no, okay, that's fine. If you do, boom, I got drops for the rest of the year. Every month we doing a drop. And that's how you got to handle it. That's how you got to model yourself after your business. The message of the day is be adamant about your business and know who you're selling to. The art of selling is very, very important. It can make or break your business. So go out there and figure it out. I'm not going to tell you the tips and tricks of the trade. I feel like I gave a lot of game away today already. But just know who you're selling, where, when, and why. The setting, right? You're not going to make no sales by forcing your way into people. Just relax. Think of it as you're not selling, you're not making people buy shit. People have already bought it. So what are you doing to put it in their hands? This is the God's Hour.
Max was the turnout of my lifestyle. Smoking green, blowing white clouds to build the blue skies. Conversating with the gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Walk through the sands of times like Gara. On the other side of that gad is karma. You wet Prada, the devil like inside your box now.
While the angels fly over my headstone.